Hello my beautiful people, you are welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you for your love, for watching my videos, liking, commenting and sharing. God bless you all. You are all in my prayers, okay? And if you are new to this channel, you are very much welcome. Thank you for clicking on this video. And I am Vivian. In case you don't know me, I am Vivian, the creative director of Vivi Creations. And today I want to show you how to draft the shoulder dart bustier. Okay, shoulder dart bustier. So if you're new to this channel, thank you so much. You are welcome. Please be part of this lovely family by subscribing. Okay, just hit on the subscribe button below and also turn on the notification bell beside it so that whenever I upload a new video, you will be notified. I have a lot coming up on this channel and I believe you will not want to miss out. So please, I'm begging you, hit on the subscribe button below and also turn on the notification bell beside it. Okay, so thank you so much. So without wasting much of your time, let's move straight into the lesson of the day. So I have my paper here. So because I'm using paper, I'm not placing it on fold. So if you're going to cut directly on your fabric, yes, you can do this directly on your fabric. So but I'm using paper to make it very clear to you. So if you're going to cut on your fabric directly, you have to place your fabric on fold. So how, you might be asking, what length of fabric will you fold? So the measurement you take is the biggest circumference, the biggest measurement divided by 4 plus 4 to 5 inches, depending on the allowance you want to take. Okay, but 4 inches is okay. That is your biggest circumference. In this case, the biggest is the bust because it's a half top. Okay, so the biggest circumference is the bust. So the bust measurement divided by 4 plus 4 inches. That is what I would fold if I'm cutting on my fabric. Okay, so please, I want to apologize for any background noise you might be hearing. Please, the dog is barking in the background, but please let us concentrate on the lesson and I pray you understand it. So to start, I usually mark a point at the top where I'll be placing my shoulder seam allowance. Okay, so I like having my shoulder seam allowance so that by the time I join at the shoulder, it won't affect the armhole and it won't affect the neckline. So I'll just mark 1 inch from the top of my paper and I'll draw a line. Okay, so this is just to have my starting point. So I have it here. So from this point now, I would place my vertical measurement, which is the bust point, the under bust point, and the waist. Okay, so from here I'll place the vertical measurement, and the bust point in this case is 10.5 inches. Then the under bust is 15 inches. The waist is 18 inches. Then I'm adding 1 inch for seam allowance. Okay, actually this will be a gown. We're using it to make a gown, but I'm just adding the 1 inch here for joining to the lower part of the gown. So after giving you this tutorial, I also make the video on how to make the gown. It to be a gypsy gown. Okay, so now because I want to draw lines across, I would repeat this point here so that I can draw my lines. Okay, so this is it, and the full length. So instead of marking the waist again, I just decide to mark the full length. Now I'll draw my lines. So I have it here. So let me label it for your understanding. This is the bust point, this is the under bust, and this is the waist. Okay, and the full length of the top. So having done this, now I'll mark my shoulder. That is, I'll mark the shoulder measurement, and the shoulder measurement is 15 inches. 15 divided by 2, that is 7.5, but I'll add half inch because I'll be joining the sleeve to it. Okay, so I'll be marking at 8 inches. So just mark at 8 inches. I will also mark the neck width. So the neck width I'm using is 4 inches and the neck depth is 5 inches. Okay, So I have it there, and I would connect. So I'll just connect my neckline. So this is my neckline, and I'll just create the neckline. So this is okay. So now, having done this, I would not place the armhole length or armhole depth yet, because we're making a shoulder that's bustier. Okay, so what I'll first of all do is to place the bust span. So here the bust span, that is the nipple to nipple, is 8 inches. Divide by 2, that is 4. But I'll be adding half inch also, because by the time I cut out the dart, I'll be joining. So I'll just add half inch, that is 4.5. Okay, and I'll mark it all the way down. So this is it. After marking it, I would connect. So this is the bust span. Have it here. All right, now I've marked my bust span. The next thing is to create my dart. So in my previous tutorials, I've been given this formula to know the measurement you'll be placing at this side to have a nice bust cup that will accommodate the bust of your client. What you will do, the bust circumference minus the under bust circumference, divide by 2. Okay, the bust circumference minus the under bust circumference, divide by 2. Whatever you have is what you'll be placing here. Then at this side, you can use 1 inch, you can use half inch, depending on how curvy you want the bust cup to be. So my client's measurement and bust circumference is 40. The under bust circumference is 37. So 40 minus 37, that is 3 inches. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. So I'll be using 1.5 here. Okay, so the essence of doing this is to have a nice bust cup. You have a bust cup that is too small to accommodate the bust, or a bust cup that is too big for the client. But then at this side, I'll be using 1 inch because I want it to be well curved. Okay, so I'll be using 1 inch here. So like I said, you can use half inch, you can use 1 inch. I decided to use 1 inch. So this is what I have. Now I would connect. So just connect this like so, and you connect this. Okay, so I have it here. Now from my bust point, I would come down by 1 inch. Okay, so this 1 inch, the essence of coming down, that by the time I form my curve, I won't have the pointed edge. Okay, is to eliminate that pointy edge at the bust point. So by the time I've stepped down by 1 inch, I'll then make a curve from this point to that 1 inch step down. So just make a curve. Okay, and I have it here like so. Then I also connect this one. So you just connect this one. It doesn't have to be curvy at this part, because this is the part that contains the bust. Okay, so at this part, you just, all you need to do here is just to connect it. Okay, just connect it. You have it like so. So we have created the dart at this lower part. Now we'll move to the shoulder side. We want to create the shoulder dart. What you need to do is just to measure what you have here. Okay, you know, this is where I mark the shoulder measurement. So you just measure what you have there. So I have 4 inches here. Then mark the midpoint of whatever you have. So the midpoint is 2. Okay, I have 4 inches, the midpoint is 2 inches. So after marking it, what you do, connect it to the bust point. Just draw a line from that point to the bust point, like so. Good. So after connecting, you would also step up by 1 inch. You mark it on that line. Okay, this is to eliminate sharpness at this bust area. So having done this, now you come to this side. At this other side where you that will contain the bust, mark 1 inch. Okay, you mark 1 inch. At this other side, you mark half. Okay, so we're creating the shoulder dart. Mark ½ inch at this inner side and mark 1 inch at this other side. It's just standard. Then you connect it to this 1 inch step up. So here we're not making curve, you're just connecting it with line. Okay, so have it there. So I have other tutorials on this channel. In case you're new, please visit go through the channel. You see exciting tutorials, how to make recessed dart bustier and other bustiers, off shoulder bustiers. Okay, so we have our shoulder dart here now. Now we would be replacing our dart. So I'll start with the shoulder. So you can see I haven't created my armhole depth yet. That is because I want to replace this shoulder, this dart that I'll be cutting off here before placing the armhole depth. So what I have here, 1 inch on this side and ½ inches, 1.5, right? So I would mark my 1.5. So I'll mark it. Now remember that by the time you cut out this dart, you will be joining. So you need ½ inch on this side to join and ½ inch on this side to join the two of them. So that is 1 inch. Replace it also. Okay? So I hope this is clear. So the joining allowance or the seam allowance, sewing allowance, whatever it's called, that is what I have replaced here. That is 1 inch. So that by the time we join it, our shoulder will not be too small. So I have replaced that. So you place your dart and you add your seam allowance. So this is where I would now create my armhole depth. So before creating the armhole depth, remember your shoulder slope. So I'll come down by 1 inch at this point to create my shoulder slope. Okay, so by the time I've stepped down, I will now connect it to the neck width. So just connect to the neck width, and this is my shoulder. Okay, so this is the shoulder. So from now I can place the armhole depth. So the armhole depth here is 8 inches. So in case you don't know how to derive your armhole, you can watch my previous tutorials, okay, on how to draft a basic bodice pattern. I gave that formula there. So now I will just connect. So this is the armhole depth. Okay, I also have a video on formulas, how to get formulas or in sewing. Please, you can visit the channel, just go through my videos. You will see that that is formulas for different things on sewing. So you just extend this. Okay, so have it here. So now I want to make my curve. Okay, so to make my armhole curve, I'll first of all place my bust circumference here. So the bust is 40 inches divided by 4, that is 10 inches, but I'll add ½ inch for ease at the armhole area. Okay, so I'll add ½ inch because I'm joining sleeve. Don't want it to be tight there, so the client can raise her hand. So I have marked it there. Okay, that is 10.5. Let me measure again. Yeah, I have it there. So now you also mark the midpoint of your armhole depth. That is this 8 inches and the midpoint is 4. So at this midpoint, I'll come in by ½ inch. So I'm using ½ inch. You can use 1, you can use half, because the armhole at the front panel is deeper than the armhole at the back panel. That is why we are coming in, okay, to eliminate so much fabrics at this armhole area. Okay, to just eliminate this is just to eliminate having so much foldings there. So now I'll just connect to create my armhole curve. So just carefully connect. Okay, so I'll just create my armhole curve. So this is my armhole curve. So I hope this is clear. We have gotten to this point. We have drafted our shoulder darts, okay, and bustier. So you can see what we have here. So now the next thing is to place our horizontal measurements. So we'll place our horizontal measurements. So at this point, I have placed the bust circumference. So that covers up for the bust. Now we'll move to the under bust. So the under bust is 37 inches divided by 4, that is 9.2 Okay, this is it, 9.25. I would mark it. I'll just first of all mark it, then I'll replace this dot. Okay, I'll replace the dot I have here. Remember, I have 1.5 here and 1 inch here. Okay, so that will give me 2.5 inches, right? So I'll replace the dot. So this is it, replacing my dart. Then I would also take my waist circumference, divide by 4. That is 9.75. This is 9.75 here. So I'll just mark it, replace my dart, which is 2.5 inches. So this is it here. Okay, so I haven't added any allowance yet. Just want to first of all connect the actual measurements. So this is it. So connect from this point to this point, then connect down. So whatever shape you have here has to do with the shape of your client. Okay, if we had a hip here, this shape will also go down to the hip. Okay, so this is just the waist. So having done this, the next thing is to place my seam allowance. So I'll be using 1.5 inch seam allowance. You can use 1 inch, you can use 2 inches, depending on what you want. So I'm using 1.5. Okay, so I've just marked it here. Then I'll also come here, I'll mark it, and I'll also mark it here. So this is my seam allowance, and I would connect. Okay, so I have it like so. So just eliminate any sharp edge, just blend it off. So having placed my allowance here, I will also place my allowance at the shoulder. So don't forget this. If you don't place allowance at the shoulder, by the time you join, you'll be reducing your arm, that is your neckline and your armhole depth. So that is why I said that initially you create a space for that. So what I'll do from this point, I'll just mark ½ inch upward. Okay, that's ½ inch. At this point, I also mark ½ inch. You can see. Then I would connect. So this is the shoulder seam allowance. I always do this. So just connect. Okay, so now you can see what we have there. Then you extend this one and you extend this one. So we have it here. Okay, you can see what we have here. This is our shoulder dart bustier top. So now the next thing is to cut it out. Okay, I have also placed the allowance at this part initially. So what I'll do now is just to cut it out. So I hope this is clear to you. Please feel free to drop your comments, ask your questions, and please don't forget to like this video. Please just give it a like. That will encourage me to do more. And if you're yet to subscribe, I beg you, please subscribe. Be part of this lovely family. We love you, want you to be here. Okay, so now let me just go ahead and cut it out so that you see what we have here. So guys, you can see what we have here now. Okay, isn't this beautiful? So this is our shoulder dart bustier top or blouse pattern. So guys, like always, okay, on this channel I always try to show you what the drafting would look like by the time you join it. Okay, so I just tried holding this with my paper tape just to show you. Okay, for those of you that be following, you know me with this. I always want to show you what it will look like, so you can see. Okay, you can see the bust well curved. You can see. Okay, so this will accommodate the bust of the client. You can see the under bust. You can see how curvy it is. Then you can see everything matching up. Okay, you can see everything matching up. No side is longer than the other. So just that I would be using this pattern. That's why I'm not holding it with pin or sewing it together. I just held it down a little bit with paper tape just to show you what we have there. This is the center panel. So if you are placing on fold, you see how complete it would look. Okay, so this is it. You can see this. Please give this video a like. I beg you, give this video a like, to encourage me to do more for you, my lovely people. Then if you are yet to subscribe, please subscribe. Okay, join this lovely family. So now let's move on to drafting the back panel. Okay, all right, so for the back, I would repeat the same thing I did at the front. Okay, that is marking my shoulder seam allowance space. That is just marking 1 inch at the top. Okay, so now I'll place my vertical measurements. So the bust points. So we're just placing this to be able to get our darts. Okay, but before this, I would place my zipper allowance. So let me just place my 1 inch zipper allowance. So just to help us, so marking out the zipper allowance. Okay, so don't forget your fabric need to be on fold. So this was the zipper. Okay, so this is it. So now I'll place the vertical measurements. The bust point, which is 10.5, the under bust, the waist, okay, then the hem allowance, which I added, that is 1 inch. So this is it. So like I did before, I will still mark to be able to draw my line. All right, so at the back we don't have the bust cup, so that is not necessary here. And the dart I'll be using here is the waist dart. Okay, so I would still place my shoulder measurements, which is 7.5 plus ½ inch for the joining of the sleeve, that is 8. Okay, so I have it there. Then my neck width, remember I used 4 inches at the front, so the width must be the same. Then I'm using 2 inches for the back. Okay, for the depth, I'm using 2 inches for the depth. So this is it. So I have it here, then I'll just connect. So this is my back neckline. So having placed the neckline, the next thing is to place the armhole depth. Okay, so I will be coming down by 1 inch, which is the shoulder slope. So I'll just come down by 1 inch. Here it is. Then I'll connect it to the neck width. So I have it here. Then I'll place my armhole depth, which is 8 inches. Okay, then I'll connect. So I have it here. So I'll place my bust circumference here plus ½ inch, like I did in the front panel. That is 10.5. Okay, so remember that whatever measurement you're placing should be after the zipper allowance. Okay, it should be after the zipper allowance. So that is it there. I'll now make my armhole. The back armhole will just go this way. So now I'll be placing the dart. Okay, so like I said, I'll be using the waist dart. Here I'll be placing waist dart. So the dart will start from this line here. So let me just bring it, let me extend it to this side. Okay, so this is also known as the chest line or the upper bust line. So this is where the back dart would start from. So now I would place my bust pan. Okay, so I'll be using 4 inches because I'm not cutting out anything. So I'm using the 4 inches bust pan because the nipple to nipple is 8 inches divided by 2, that is 4 inches. Okay, so I'll just connect. So I'll just connect like so. And I have it there. Then at the waistline, so let me label this so that you understand. This is the bust, this is the under bust, and this is the waistline. Okay, so at the waistline, I would come out here by ½ inch, and I'll also mark ½ inch on this side. Okay, ½ inch on this side, ½ inch on this other side. Then I'll connect it up to this point. So this is my dart. I'll just connect it up to this point. Okay, and also connect this one. Have it here. So this is my dart for the back. So now I'll place the horizontal measurements. So I have placed for the bust. Now the under bust 9.25. So I've placed for the bust. So move to the under bust, which is 9.25. So I'll mark it 9.25. Okay, so I'll mark it. Then I will replace this dart. So just measure the dart, whatever you have there, you replace it. Okay, so I'll replace the dart because by the time I sew it, it would be short of if I don't replace it. So for the waist is 9.75. This is my 9.75. Okay, so I'll mark it. Then I also measure my dart. So this is 1 inch because I have ½ inch here and ½ inch here. So I'll replace the 1 inch. And this is just it. Okay, so now I would connect. So first of all, connect it before adding my seam allowance. So I have it here. Sorry, made a mistake. This is it. Okay, so you can see the shape we have here. That is because there's no dart. So for the front, by the time we sew it, everything would be in place. So I would add 1.5 inch seam allowance like I did for the front. Okay, so I use 1.5 inch. So that is what I'm using here too. So I would connect. And have it here. So this is the back. Okay, so I hope everything is there. I have fixed my neckline, my armhole. So it's meaning the shoulder seam allowance, so don't forget that. So I'll step up here by ½ inch. Okay, like I did in the front, and also step up here by ½ inch. Then I would connect. So this is for joining the shoulder, so that it won't have any effect on my armhole and my neckline by the time I join at the shoulder. And this is just all for the back. Okay, so I would go ahead now and cut it out. So this is it. I'm not cutting the darts. I will just fold it and sew. Okay, so this is it for the back panel, and this is the front. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not yet subscribed, and turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And in my next tutorial, I'll be transferring this on the fabric. Like I said, I'll be making a gown, and this is the top part of the gown, and the lower part will be sort of gypsy. Okay, that is one step gypsy gown. So this is it about our tutorial. So thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video. God bless you. I love you all.